gifts that you understand who the person is. Well, I'm going to tell you a story about gifts that were given. A long time ago, roughly 2,000 years ago, that gives you a clue, someone was born. And this someone was very, very, very important. This person was born over here, and in a far-off land over in the east, there were wise men, learned men, men that had studied the scriptures. Their predecessors had been taught by Daniel in the Bible. Do you know Daniel? Who lived in Babylon, who could interpret dreams, who understood what they meant. Their predecessors were good at interpreting dreams and understanding. So these wise men, they used to follow and map out the stars of the night sky. Have you ever looked into the night sky and you can follow which ones are where and you can learn the constellations? Anyone do that? Some. Well, these guys were experts. And when that baby was born, a new star came in the sky, and they had been waiting and they had been searching. And so it was time. They gathered up all their servants and they had an entourage. That's a fancy word, isn't it? An entourage. I'd like an entourage. It means you've got loads of servants. They had loads of camels. I don't think I'd want camels, but they had loads of camels. And the camels all had saddlebags filled with stuff. Treasures, jewels, gold. Because these guys, they were wealthy, wise men who were advisors in the royal court. So they got onto their camels and they made their way, and it took a long time. But they were searching and following the star. Anyone know how long it took them? Asaph. 24 days. Good guess. Like Advent, but no. Lottie. 3 years. It's a bit too much, but you're on the right line. Zachary. Say again? 52 days. Bit more than 52 days. Rafe? 2 years. Spot on. Who here is 2 years old? Anyone here? That one over there. She's 2 years old. So it took them that long to find it. And they were so close. They were nearly there. They came to Judea. They'd had many stops along the way. They came to Judea and they saw the palace of Herod, the king of Judea. And they thought, we will ask him because we're so close. We just need to know the exact location of the one we're searching for. And so they made their way with their camels and their entourage. And the guards on King Herod's palace were looking out. Hey, Amran, camels. Are we expecting camels? No. It's not on my schedule to have camels. What's going on? They look like they have a lot of wealth. Visitors. I'll tell King Herod. He'll be very pleased. He likes visitors. So they got the word to King Herod, who was sat on his throne. Visitors, you say? They have gifts? Nice. Let them come. Let them come. And he saw, as the wise men, they got off their camels and they came forward in their royal robes, and they had gifts, laden with gifts, in the saddlebags of the camels. And King Herod thought, I've got loads, but I want more. And I want more fame. Yes. And they bowed low and they said, we have come from afar. We've come from the east and we're searching. We're searching for a king. Look no further, said Herod. I am king of this land. It's me. Bow down, give gifts. It's all me. And they said, we're looking for a new king, and his star is in the heavens, and we've been searching, and we want to go and worship him because he is the king of the Jewish people. A new king? Said Herod. A new king? A new king? Yes, we want to worship him. Of course you do. Well, why don't you tell me where this new king is, and I will go and worship him too. Let's all go and worship him together. Let's worship the new king. I'm very thrilled about this news. I said, yeah, it's okay if you don't know where he is. We'll go find him. Please do and tell me. Come back and tell me, because I want to worship him too. I'm desperate to. Okay, yes, we will tell you. And they backed out slowly, thinking, he has got a screw loose. Back out, back out, back out. Well, God warned them in a dream not to go back to King Herod and not to tell him where the baby was. But they carried on their camels until they saw the star was above a small house. And so, with their great big robes and their camels laden with gifts, they knocked on that door. Can you do a knock? That's so good. Let's try one more time together. It's going to be 3. Ready? And it echoed around many times. And the door opened, and Mary stood there, and Jesus, 2-year-old Jesus, was playing with some toys behind her on the floor. And they said, please, we've come to worship him. And she said, come on in. So they came in, but first they gathered something out of the saddlebags of their camels, and they came into the house. And when they saw him, they said, it's him. What's his name? His name is Jesus, Mary said. He's here. It's Jesus. He's the one that heaven has sent. He's the new king. He's the king that's come to save us. The king foretold hundreds and hundreds of years ago by the prophet Isaiah. It's Jesus. And they bowed down and they brought gifts. And Mary, she took the first gift and opened it. It was gold. She looked at Joseph. They knew who he was. He was a king. And then they gave the second gift, and she took it. And as she unwrapped it, it was frankincense. Do you know what frankincense was used for? Anyone know? Yes, Ben. Perfume, yes. It's a perfume. They used to put it in these containers and swing it around the temple, and it would fill the whole temple like the prayers and worship of the saints. These givers knew who they were giving the gift to. He's the Son of God. And then they gave the third gift, and Mary took it, and she opened it. Oh. She recognized the smell, but the smell made her think of dead people, because this was myrrh. This is what you smothered on the dead person to preserve them. And she looked at her son, and she looked at the myrrh. Yes, these wise men knew. They knew him well. They gave their gifts and they worshipped him. And the Bible said they couldn't contain their joy because they realized he was the gift. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son for the lost, for the lonely, for the hurting, for the weak, for the despised, for the rejected, for the worn out, for the stressed, for the overburdened, for the ones who'd lost their way, for the ones who didn't know their identity, for the ones walking in darkness. He came that whoever believed in him would not perish, but they would have eternal life, the gift.